Welcome to Endurance Hercules, the channel that puts human endurance to the test on the daily. Today we're gonna be running a half marathon or more. And for every mile I do, I'm gonna give you one tip to shake up your run training in order to make it more engaging and help you get the most out of it. So let's get started right now. Mile 1, make sure to add in some track and field movements as you go on your run. Things like bounds, things like A-skips. This will help you perfect the mechanisms of running and make each step stronger and more efficient. Mile 2, lines. Pretty much no matter where you go running, there are gonna be lines for you to use in order to work on your running stride symmetry, as well as work on your agility. Mile 3, backwards running. Yes, that's right. Every once in a while, flipping around and running backwards can be extremely beneficial because you're helping to build up the muscles that support you when you run forwards. And as a bonus, if you're getting really tired, sometimes switching around and running backwards for a little bit, that can give the muscles that are doing most of the work and running forwards a little bit of a break. So you can carry on in motion, but still recover a little bit. Mile 4, sprinting. In order to be great at the art of not giving up and having great endurance, you need to be strong in both aerobic and anaerobic endurance. And that means practicing both moderate intensity, long distance running and sprinting. If you avoid sprinting like the plague, I guarantee you, as soon as you start to work it in, you're gonna find that you're a lot more strong, a lot more fit, and you'll even be able to tackle long distances much easier. Mile 5, agility drills. The ability to change directions in motion as well as decelerate and accelerate is key in sport performance. And if you're just looking to shake up your run training, adding them in can be a great way to improve your athleticism and make you better able to deal with the chaotic environment that is the outside world. Mile 6, technical focus. Although it can be mind-numbing, going out and focusing solely on running technique, I think, is a part of training that is oftentimes neglected. You want to think head up, shoulders relaxed, hands on either side of the body, fingers curled but not clenched, core engaged, glutes engaged, shoulders slightly ahead of the hips, forefoot striking, and pushing off with the big toe. Just going out and trying to remember to do all that is like spinning plates, but it helps sharpen your technique, making each step more efficient, helping you go longer distances without getting tired. Mile 7, balance. Oftentimes, if you are having difficulty adding on time or distance to your run, a great strategy can be adding on exercises at the end of your run training that help you improve different aspects of your running form. For example, balance. If when you get tired on your run, instead of cutting it short, try pulling over and working on a few balance exercises. This will help you work on your core stabilization and help you keep from getting injured during your runs. Mile 8, boxing. Okay, hear me out on this one, but what makes more sense than using your upper body to carry on working on your cardio when your lower body is too burned out to continue? If your legs are feeling too burned out in your run to carry on, then instead of cutting your cardio training short, you may consider pulling over and working on some boxing movements. That way, you can work it using the muscles of your arms primarily. Although, real boxers know, you do use the legs in boxing as well, just not in as high of an impact way. Quick break in order to recharge the watch, get some water. Okay, after what turned out to be a pretty substantial break, we're back at it. Mile 9 and some change. Jumps. So this one kind of feeds into the track and field one at the beginning, but if you incorporate even just vertical jumps or long jumps, broad jumps into your training, you may find that you get a lot faster on the track. Just working on that explosive movement, it translates well into your running because running is basically just a series of jumps that are interconnected together. Mile 10, conditioning exercises. So much like my balance tip, if you're having trouble adding time or distance to your run, if you're having trouble improving your endurance, one thing you may consider is when you get too tired to consider running, pull over and do a couple of conditioning exercises that challenge your muscle fibers and give your cardiovascular system time to recover. You may find after you do a couple of high knees or heel flicks or lunges or anything like that, that you may be able to eke out a little bit more distance in your run. Mile 11, backpack runs. So running with a weighted backpack is a great way not only to experience what it's like to have regular runs feel easy by comparison, but running with some weight in a way that destabilizes your core is a great way to learn how to run smooth, thereby reducing the amount of jostling that happens on your skeleton, reducing the amount of impact and the chance for injury by extension. True story, I once asked my neighbor permission to put a bunch of rocks from his front yard into my backpack so I could run around with them. And this was when I was 13. So for the record, I knew early on that I was a freak. Mile 12, breath training. I don't know if you've ever gone out and run and conscientiously tried to work on how you breathe, but that can really be a game changer. After all, every movement is fueled by breath. So if you're able to breathe really efficiently and manage your breath super well, you have an advantage. So one technique I recommend trying is called box breathing when you're out running. It's basically you take a 4-second inhale, hold your breath for 4 seconds, take a 4-second exhale, and then hold your breath for 4 seconds and try and repeat that. Half marathon mobility work. So again, if you want to try and extend your running workout a little bit, consider adding in a period of dynamic stretching in the middle. So when you get too tired and you think you have to cut your run short, just pull to the side, try some dynamic stretching, and then try and carry on a little bit longer. You may find that after bringing a little bit more blood flow to the ligaments and tendons that support your run, you may be able to carry on 14 miles. So this one might be a little bit controversial, but apnea training. This one relates to breath training, but if you ever want to get truly superhuman levels of anaerobic endurance, I recommend adding in some amount of apnea training or trying to do exercises while holding your breath. If you ever go out and run while trying to hold your breath, you'll quickly realize that beyond a few steps, it is absolutely impossible. However, mixing in a controlled breathing exercise like box breathing goes a long way to making your lungs super efficient machines that become great at their job of intaking fuel and expelling metabolic waste. Mile 15, closing your eyes just for a second. Now this one feeds into balance, but if you close your eyes for a few seconds as you run, you'll wake up your proprioceptors, aka specialized muscle fibers that sense your body's position in space. When you wake that up, you start to have a better visualization in your own mind of how it is that you're moving. And you start to understand your own body a little bit better. You get better at the mechanics in this way. Mile 16, and I'm really feeling it now. Terrain. You want to make sure that if you always run in the same place, you try and mix up the type of terrain that you go on. On softer terrain, it tends to be easier on your joints, but it slows you down. On a harder terrain, you tend to move faster, but it's a little bit higher impact. So of course, you can try and balance out the two for the most efficient type of training. And each type of terrain, from earth to cement to pavement to sand, each one has a different lesson to teach about how to move and travel more smoothly. 17 miles, and this will be my final tip of the day. A piece of advice no one else may ever offer you, but running more than once in a day can take your endurance to levels beyond your imagining. It makes you very good at shifting into the version of yourself that is ready to run. Well, there you have it. Another day of training is done, but make sure to come back because we're gonna be running further and further and continuing to push the limits of human endurance every day.